Hello and welcome to a lesson on your film favourites book, which is called also Sprach Zarathustra. And today we're going to go through the piece. We're going to get some key concepts. We're going to learn a bit about the background of the piece, and hopefully you will gain a better understanding of this as you play it, and hopefully be able to play it a little bit better. All right, so hopefully you found the wakelet that has all the resources and links that you are going to need. And I am going to just click on that now. And there you should see it. Awesome. So it doesn't sound this piece title that I'm necessarily saying that correctly. So I have got Google to find me how to pronounce it correctly. So let's have a listen to that.
Also sprach Zarathustra.
Also sprach Zarathustra.
Also sprach Zarathustra.
Zarathustra. So I need to probably work on that and listen to it, and you can do that also. Here we've got a map of where the creators of this piece are, and we're going to talk about that right now. So there's sort of three parts to this piece of music that's in your film favourites. First of all, there was actually a book called Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche, and it was written in 1883. Then Strauss took that book and created a piece of music that reflected some of the themes and some of the ideas in that through music. And then Stanley Kubrick in 1968 wrote a film and used that piece of music to help his film become awesome. It's actually the start of the film as well. And it's really appropriate, and we'll hear why a bit later on. So you're welcome to go through here, but the book essentially is a commentary on how, as science and our knowledge is increasing, what does that mean for religion, our traditional values and norms, and maybe what that can mean in the future. The piece, a little phrase here, a tone poem, and it is a descriptive piece of music. So sometimes composers will write music to maybe some sort of imagery that they are thinking of, or something that describes a landscape perhaps, or an event, but that's what a tone poem is. And then the film is about these humanoids or humans who find this monolith, and they go, "Oh, that doesn't look human-made." So they set off on a mission into space to find its origins. And there's a naughty computer on there that that does some naughty things. So that's what the film's about. And it was sort of like, it's critically acclaimed as, one of the best sci-fi movies. It did some amazing sort of special effects for its time. And as I was saying at the start, it's actually the start of the movie, and we can watch that in a moment. Awesome. So where do these people live? What are we talking about here? So what I've done is I've made a little link to Google Earth, which I'll try and get ready. So first of all, we're in Canberra. Where's that? Woo! Hope it's not spinning you out. Oh, there it is. Civic. Great. Awesome. Say hi to your little hometown. Then we head off to Strauss, who, if there's any information there, who's in grew up in the south of Germany. And then we'll head over to where Nischke, born near a town near Leipzig, which is sort of the northeast part of Germany. But I think it was actually Prussia at that time. Anyway, and then all the way over to Stanley Kubrick, who was the film director-creator, and grew up in the Bronx in New York, in the United States of America. Awesome, let's head back to that wakelet. So, I think we should listen to the original piece that is by Strauss, and this is the orchestral version. Okay, we've got a concert band version. Let's see if I can make this a little bit larger. Interesting looking trumpets. They're rotary trumpets, by the way. Fantastic. Wow, amazing. That brings a smile to my face every time. Brilliant. Awesome. So, that's the orchestral piece, and it sounds awesome. You have a different version, which is still awesome. And before we get to your piece, let's just watch the start of the movie, which uses, as I said, the same music. It's very dark, but I think I see the outline. Behind Earth, I think this is taken from the perspective of the moon looking at the Earth and then the sun. I think. Awesome start to a movie. That would set the scene very, very coolly. Good. So, your version, which is you can play along to and encourage you to do so. That is there, and I'll just load it, but we can talk about it in a moment. But for the learning that we're going to do now, please have this stuff ready. Get your music and a pencil, because it's going to be important. We'll look at sort of counting the rests, subdividing, the dynamics, and the articulation. Because as you could probably hear, there's not a heap of notes, but it's the way they're played, which is the important thing. I've got my conductor's version of the piece, which hopefully you've got in your music, and then we can match them up up together. Just bear with me while that loads. Awesome, cool. All right, so this sort of section here is what I see, and that's the first 5 bars. First 5 bars of the piece, and I've got my instruments on the left, and then the music on the right, and then as we go along, we head. I'm going to have to remove that. Screen. Got there in the end. Okay, and then we would go down to this section here. So if you're a flute person or an oboe person, you're on that top line, and then you would be going down to here on my music, but yours should be a lot easier to understand. So the original, we had that timpani going along, a murmuring maybe of a lower stringed instrument or a woodwind instrument, and we've sort of got this replaced here with our tuba and our bass clarinet. We don't actually have a baritone sax in our bands, but it is the lowest saxophone that's usually around. And as you can see, the bass drum, you get to do a roll. Okay, so you're going to need 2 sort of beaters to do this, but on your practice pad, you can be working on that roll. And it is a soft roll, and it goes for a long time because it's all tied together. So you have to roll for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars and 1 beat there. And then we've got all the other instruments coming in staggered. But our tuba and bass clarinet, you can see here, there's stagger the breath. Okay, so you've got to try and make that as long as you can before you take a breath, and then a really quick breath, and then come straight back in. And hopefully the audience won't know that there's any breaks, but that's the idea. We're all starting very soft, as you can see by that dynamic. And then after all that time, we come in with a strong forte, and we've got some crash cymbal, some snare drum coming in with your roll, and everyone's playing together. So that means it's all going to sound really, really strong. Now, I find when I'm working with bands on this that one of the things we need to work on really is actually the counting. Okay, so if you're a flute, oboe, clarinet, alto sax player, you've got to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars and 4 beats. So if I was you, I'd be getting my pencil right now. Sorry. And I'd be writing in the counts. So I'd be writing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'd have that 4 just above that quaver rest there. Because that bar, and everyone will be doing it, is going to be going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 really strongly. And in order for it to be the most impact, it's got to be together. So that bar, and everyone needs to be making sure that they've written in on that on this bar here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now it's all accented, so it's a strong tongue with lots of air behind it. And then we've got our decrescendo, and then our crescendo, and hopefully you heard that in the orchestral version. All right. After that comes off, we hear boom, 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 boom with our lower brass and woodwind, and also the bass drum hitting on the beat, and they're accented too, so they can be strong there. Bar 11, it's sort of a repeat, isn't it? We're counting our bars rest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. together. And as we're doing our decrescendo, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then our crescendo, 1, 2, 3, 4, we are coming off on that beat 1 of bar 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Rest, rest, rest. Again, carrying on with that boom, 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 boom in our lower brass and woodwind. Bass drum's still rolling. We're still staggering our breath. Hopefully you haven't run out. Bass clarinets and tubas. Everyone else who comes in, you sort of need to be matching the dynamic that's come before, so you're not necessarily overpowering it. And then after here at bar 25, well, we've got alto sax, tenor sax, French horns, and trombones and euphoniums are playing 1 and 2, all accented, strong, forte, and playing together that rhythm. The last few bars from 27 to the end, while it's not a tricky rhythm, you just need to be making sure that you're looking at the conductor from time to time and getting each of those strong beats on the beat. If you're not playing yet, so flutes, oboes, clarinets, bells, you're really counting hard at 27. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 to play those quavers into that next bar at 29. And then all together, the last 4 bars, crescendoing to a forte, and holding that strong until we get to this bar where we've got the lower brass and woodwind and the percussion, finishing off with some rhythmic boom, 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 and we all come off on that first beat of that last bar. So hopefully everyone, when you're holding that semi-breve or whole note tied to another one, tied to a quaver or an eighth note, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And hopefully with this percussion and lower brass and woodwind will meet us there at that same spot. Right, so that's a little bit of a go through the score. So when I was talking about the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, that's sort of subdividing the beat, okay? Because it's vital in this piece that we're all together when it comes in, because that's going to, as I said earlier, bring the most impact. So please don't necessarily just count 1, 2, 3, 4. It might be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Please make sure that you're using the correct articulation. Okay, it's a strong tongue, having some energy behind that. All right. So this is an exercise on crescendoing and decrescendoing. As I said earlier, it's going to create such a big impact if we can all do it together and you are all doing that same, getting softer and getting louder. So you don't actually have to be playing an instrument at this point in time, but you can say any note, you can play any note, you can sing any note, keep a beautiful sound, but gradually the idea is that we decrescendo, and then in this line we're crescendoing, and then we're putting all of them together. So going from maybe like a loud to a soft. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or the second one getting louder. 1, 2, 3, 4. Making sure that you are over time reducing or increasing your volume, and putting that all together is sort of what we want to aim to do down the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's, trust me, that'll sound awesome if you can all do that together. All right. Lastly, if you would like to try and have a look at what the actual orchestral music looks like, you are welcome to click on this link. And this is, move this out of the way. This is the score that Strauss wrote, and because Strauss is German, he used German terms and German names of instruments, and this is, whilst it's a little bit different rhythmically, like we've got semiquavers here, it looks quite the same. We've got that sort of long staggered breathing bit here, and then we've got everyone coming in. We've got a decrescendo and then a crescendo. So it's actually all the same here. All right, we've got roll with this, or a trill, I should say, over here, and we've got the violins. The bass, the double basses rolling along there. Does change here. This is like sort of the bar 17, I think it was. Looks a little bit more complicated, but otherwise, it's very similar to your music. Anyway, I hope you got some interesting things out of that, and hopefully that when you join together with your band, that you can all make it awesome. Alrighty, thank you for watching, and see you in band.